Hi, hey, Sexy J, quick and dirty time. And this one is from Robert. Thank you for emailing us. This is a new question type. And I was also thinking about what do I call this? And I'm going to call this scientific advancement. Okay. So this is based on the text, what is blah, blah, blah. That's going to be the wording here. Based on the text, what is. So the question type, according to Khan Academy, is probably going to be some unhelpful wording. So I'm just going to call this scientific advancement, okay? So this is going to be, I read some type of scientific discovery, okay? And then they're going to ask at the end, okay, so why is that thing good? Why is that thing important? What does it do? Okay, so it is a little bit weird to give it a terminology because this is literally testing your comprehension. But that's, all of the reading, right? Reading comprehension test, okay? So the wording here is based on the text, what is one advantage of doing blah, 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 okay? So I recognize it's a science passage, and this is asking, well, why is that good? Okay, or it could be, why is it bad? But it's most likely going to be, why is it good? Because these are going to be about scientific advancements or discoveries, okay? So in these things, the key, as always, you guys probably noticed this pattern by now if you guys have been watching all the videos. In all of these long text questions for digital SAT, it's usually the last two sentences that I have to read. Like, I can't not read those. So, what is one advantage of adding nano-sized disks when using lithium-ion batteries? Well, they added nano-sized disks with a high specific heat, causing the cold to affect the disks instead of the charges. Okay, so what's the good thing? Cold goes to the disks, not the charges. So I need something that has to do with that. Now, if I do that, let's see. It looks like, okay, they all sound kind of okay. Like A mentions the cold, B mentions electricity, C mentions electricity. Aren't they all kind of the same thing? Okay. So this was a new type of question. Thank you, Robert, again for bringing it to my attention. Normally, we just have to look at the last question, right? Last sentence, my bad. But we have here, this is what they're supposed to do. Lithium-ion batteries are supposed to do this. What are they supposed to do? They store charge and allow the charges to flow. Okay, so this is going to be the advantage. And this is how, on regular SAT, this is how they go, okay? There is what we want. There's a problem. And there's a solution. I don't know why my voice just changed now. Okay, so this is how science passages go. This is the thing that we want. This is the goal. Like, we want to have vehicles that don't give off pollution. Problem, we're using fossil fuels. Solution, we use electric vehicles. That type of flow. So, goal, problem, solution. Okay? So if I have the word advantage, it's going to help me meet my goal. So this is why this is a new type of question, because normally we just have to look at the last sentence, right? Because that's what happened at the end. But here, I actually have to look at what was my goal originally. So these are supposed to use thermodynamically favorable redox reactions. You don't have to know what that means. I made that up. To store charge and allow charge to flow. These are the things I want to happen. Store charge, allow charge to flow. That is what I want. Okay. So let's take a second. Can you guys, using what we have learned so far from all the videos, eliminate any of these answers? Exactly. I did not pause myself that time. I always do, right? It's A is out because it uses the word any coldness. That means I am fixing things 100%. Never happens in science. Okay. So that's out. So what's my answer going to be? If I'm like, I feel like B or C, they kind of work. You see this inner voice that's like super uncertain? Don't listen to that voice, okay? If it's that voice, skip it and go to another answer choice. What your thought process needs to be on the SAT is this. Oh, I'm picking this because it says that there. I need that certainty, okay? B and C, I made them, right? Based on, this was, again, based on the sample problem that I got. Those are made to sound familiar-ish, like they could work, okay? But this is your future. This is your college. You don't go, oh, it could work, So the answer here is D. Why? Flow charge. Allow charge to flow. Okay, hold on, guys. Since we're getting right at the answer, let me clear everything out. Okay. See, I'm so considerate. Yeah. Okay, so this one's the answer. Why? Flow of charge. Allow charge to flow. Yeah. cold without the cold directly affecting the charges themselves, that is a restatement of the last sentence, okay? So I got this from the last sentence. That part you guys already knew because you guys watched the other videos, right? I need to take some type of paraphrase of the last sentence. What's the new idea here? I needed to go to the beginning to figure out what was it supposed to do? What was the goal? And we found out, oh, you're supposed to allow flow to charge. Now, we have other bits of vocab here, like the word facilitate, which you guys do know, maybe? Facilitate means to make easier, okay? But that wasn't even necessary because ignoring all this stuff in the middle. I mean, you can read it, but don't, like, you know, get distracted by it. Don't waste time on it. And it's just, okay, they wanted charges to flow, and that's what happened. And also, I wanted this to happen. That's the solution, so I'm having this happen, okay? So that's the thought process, guys. I know I've been saying this every video, but I really want to emphasize, when I pick something, especially for the reading section, I know they combine reading and writing into one section, the digital SAT, but you can tell which one's a reading, which one's a writing, especially if you're watching these videos, right? I need it to be, I am picking this because this part, the first part, is here in the text. The second part is here in the text. You never want to be like, it feels like it's something I read. Nuh-uh, you don't do that, okay? So I need you guys to practice, watch my videos, and also do extra practice until you get to that level, okay? Thank you guys for watching, and as always, let me know in the comments what you guys want to see covered next. I got you guys. Study every day with SAT. It's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, it's SAT, quick and dirty time, and we're doing a series on central idea and details questions. Why? Because Khan Academy just made it one category, but there's so many more categories that you have to know to really do well on the test. So today's topic is details, and I'm going to put this in caps. No extremes. And if you guys watch my other videos on the paper SAT, I already made a point about this, and also on the ACT. So this is a super, super fundamental point that's on every single standardized reading test, okay? So we're going to avoid the extreme answers. Disclaimer, I made this question, as you guys know, and none of these things in this question are real. I made it all up. There is no language called Blancanese, okay? There isn't a science fiction author named Hubert Nebula. Or maybe there is, I don't know, okay? So this is all just made up by me for you guys. And these questions that I'm doing right now are made on the June International SAT Digital. So these are very much super similar to what SAT is giving out on the real test right now. So let's look at this question. The text makes which point? Notice how we don't have main idea, main purpose, primary. What does that mean? It is not a central idea question. It is a detail question, okay? So what detail are we looking for? So for these, if it's which point and it's detail, these are really, really even more so than the other ones by POE. I don't think I've used that acronym before, but you guys probably know what that means. What does POE stand for? Yep, process of elimination. For each answer choice, I'm looking for what is the word or phrase which allows me to eliminate this answer choice. Again, that thought process, hopefully, for long-time subscribers, sounds pretty familiar because that's how we do the ACT, the digital SAT, the paper SAT, all of these tests. Okay. So take a second to read through this text. You guys took a second. Okay. Let's go through these. So, which one of these things would be terrible answers? Probably. I kind of almost did this on purpose. Like, this is what I would do to teach the lesson, but this, again, is based on the real test question. So they were kind enough to give us 3 answer choices that are just straight up bad because of these key words that you guys should memorize, like, right now. Okay, so A, I have cannot. That means 0%. Any answer that means 0% chance or 100% chance, those are extremes, you take them out. B, the word soul. That means this is the only example in the world. There isn't anything else. Really, really unlikely. And then C, we'll get, so let's get rid of A and B first. C, what do you guys think is the extreme word here? I say, oh, none of those things seem that extreme to me. That is true. In real life, I wouldn't really call any of these extreme words. But first of all, let's see the trap here. You see how the passage ends with numerous examples? Yeah. And then I have numerous other words. They're using similar wording from the passage as they almost do with every single question to make it a trap answer. So if you're rushing, you might pick this one just because this phrase sounds similar to that phrase. But you cannot, as you guys know, you cannot say this is the answer because of this part. You can only say this is the answer because every single part of the answer choice works. Okay? So this word right here, identical, doesn't sound like an extreme, but it is an extreme answer in terms of SAT. Okay? Identical is an extreme answer. If the word was similar, that's okay. So what SAT does a lot is they will take cases in which the word similar works, but identical does not. Okay? For example, my brother and I, we look pretty similar because we are related. Yeah? We do not look identical because we are not twins. Okay? Or you could say a lot of culturally insensitive things by using the word identical. Okay? There are similarities, for example, between Vietnamese culture and Thai culture. Sure. Could you say those are identical cultures? No, no way. You get canceled because you'd be wrong. Yeah. So identical in meaning, I have no idea. Probably not true. So the answer here is D. It includes a repetition of the element mung because the element mung gets repeated. That was it, right? And as you guys have noticed from the pattern, hopefully, you guys are clever people, right? The evidence is most likely to come from the last two sentences of the text. And in this case, it was the second to last sentence. Vocab of today, second to last. The vocab is penultimate. Am I going to use that word again? No, because it doesn't come with SAT. But I just want to talk about words because I like words. Okay? So this is, again, a detailed question. Let me summarize, guys. We want to eliminate the extreme answers. The answers that say 100%, 0%, the only one. And also the word we learned today, the word identical. Doesn't look like an extreme, but it is an extreme. So you go with the least extreme answer, which is D here. And where should be the first place you look for your answers? The last two sentences of the passage. In this case, second to last sentence. And that's it for today's Quick and Dirty. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for the comments and engagement. I will get to all the comments as soon as possible. I love you guys. Thank you. Study every day with Sexy J. That's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. I have great news for you guys. We finally have full digital SAT content so you guys can take tests. At the moment, we have 20 tests. And by we, what do I mean? The SATcrashcourse.com, which I have found online as the best resource out there in approximating SAT structure, content, difficulty, and accuracy to problems. Why? Because I'm working with them right now. I am going over every single test, every single question on the reading and writing portion, and making sure this is up to quality for you guys, okay? And not only did I find the best test for you, I'm also working to get you guys good deals. So I managed to say, I'm Sexy J, I'm the best one at the SAT. Can you cut me a deal for my students? And they said yes, graciously. So if you guys use the code STUDYJ, STUDYJ, all caps, then you guys will get 10% off on whatever test you purchase on this course, okay? And there will also be reading courses made available on this website at later dates. Right now, we have, again, the best tests out there on the market, period, digital SAT, 20 of them, also PSAT digital as well, okay? So all of that is going to be in the description, in the pinned comment, and also in the QR code. So get over there, guys. That's the best way to study with who? Sexy J, also with the SATcrashcourse.com. Wow, it sounded really kind of professional there. Good job, me. Okay, so I have an example for you guys because, a picture tells 1,000 words, although my words are probably better than most pictures. Here I have an example question that is so good from this test. It is very unique. It is the theater question. And before we get to this, look at the format here, guys. It's identical to the Blue Book. Okay, you see the Module 2. Why is it Module 2? Because just like the real test, if you do Module 1, you do well, you get a harder Module 2. If you do badly, you get an easier Module 2. That dynamic testing, that has also been incorporated into this app, this website that they have created. So we have that. We have the countdown timer right there. We have all the annotate, shortcut, exit buttons. And you can even, after you take the test, review the whole thing however you want, okay? So I just want to show you guys how wonderful this interface is. They have the technology. I have the knowledge. Let's go. Let's do this, guys. So let me transfer over to the screen so that I don't have that countdown giving me anxiety, and also so that I could write on this freely. So I said before, this is the theater question. Drama, play. I prefer calling it theater because I just like that word. Theater. Okay. So this is going to be another one of those questions that's like, oh, this used to only be on AP Lit or SAT Lit if you're older. Now, this is going to be something that's easy to tackle using our strategy. And don't be intimidated by the harder language on the literature passages on the digital SAT. You normally won't even have to comprehend everything that's going on. However, I will try to throw you guys the harder literature questions on this channel so you guys can get acclimated to it. Good vocab, acclimated. So let's look here. And I can immediately know this is a theater question because it has the word play. And it's Shakespeare. And at this point, a lot of people on these theater questions, especially, and also the poetry, I will also be doing more poetry questions for you guys. People get so thrown off, like, I can't do that language, Jay. I can't do Shakespearean English, right? Don't worry, okay? Let's look here. Just look at the question first. Which quotation most effectively illustrates the claim? Notice I don't even have to read the play here. In the question, they don't even have the play. They have in regular English this one sentence. As you guys know, the last sentence of the passage, 90% of the time, that's the crucial info. In a moment of despair, Macbeth expresses his remorse for the path he has chosen, as is evident when he... So it doesn't really matter that it's a play. It doesn't matter it's Shakespeare. It doesn't matter it's Macbeth. It could be any play. It's just Macbeth. I'm just going to translate that into my regular English, more regular. Feels bad about his choices. He feels bad about the stuff he's done. That's what I need, okay? So look at those answer choices, guys. Take a second. What do you guys think it is? Is it going to be A? He says while hallucinating, out damn spout, out I say. I have nothing about. And you might say, oh, he's kind of upset here. Maybe that's the feels bad. Maybe, yeah? But you guys know, especially longtime subscribers, that's how they get you. That's good for about half of that info. But where's past choices? Nowhere, right? Is hallucination from somebody's personal past history? I have no idea, okay? B is definitely wrong. Why? You guys know tenses as well, right? Basic past tense. I already made a video on that. This future tense, we will. We will is literally the opposite of past. So out. Okay. So it's going to be here and here. And my answer here is C. After murdering King Duncan. That is a past choice. So I have that. I have 1/2. But as you guys know, I have to make sure I have 100% of the answer choice justified. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood? Let's say I don't know what that means. Fine. Clean from my hand. So he's like, okay, I killed a dude. Will I ever be clean? Will I ever be clean from this murder? I feel bad, right? I feel bad about the murder. So that's what Macbeth is feeling here. And again, notice that I didn't have to know anything about soliloquies or, dramatic aside, any of those AP Lit terms. I just needed to approach it exactly like I do a evidence question. Claim. Okay? So even though I let off this video calling it theater, because that's what you guys will recognize it as, at the end of the day, the cold fact is it's lying to you. SAT's lying to you, okay? It's actually a claim question, right? So when you get that, just ignore all of the theatrical stuff. You're just going for what backs up the claim. And how do I find the claim? You guys already know, right? I said it in the past 20 videos. Exactly, in the last question. Take the last question, translate it to regular English, pick the answer that fits that translation, as is right here. My handwriting's not that bad, guys, right? My team told me they can't read my handwriting today. So that's it for today's video, guys, and thank you for joining. We will have so much more content coming up because we have such a wonderful partnership. We have so many tests, so many problems we can go through together. See you guys next time. If you have any questions, future content you guys want, leave it in the comments. Bye-bye. Study every day. Sexy J. It's the best way. You already know. Hi, hey, Sexy J. Quick and dirty time. We are doing a poetry question because so many of you have been asking about it. And where did I find this poetry question? Right here from the SATcrashcourse.com. As I told you guys in the last video, the best place I found so far that has the most accurate, up-to-date digital SAT format and questions. How do I know that? I am checking every one of these questions. I'm working with them right now to make sure I bring you guys the best questions. So that's where I got this poetry question from. And for the upcoming future, I'll try my best to bring you as many questions from here as possible. So if you guys want to check out more from this website and all the resources they have, go to thesatcrashcourse.com. And there's even a special discount code for you guys, StudyJ, all capital. And that'll get you guys 10% off. And also, if you guys want to check it out, there is a free test available. I made sure that they gave a diagnostic test so that you guys could see for yourself, okay? Now, let's see for ourselves how to do this problem from this honestly super difficult poem of John Milton, Paradise Lost, okay? I didn't even read this whole thing, and I'm a literature major, right? I kind of skipped through some of it, and they're presenting it to us on the SAT. How on earth are we going to do that? This is not AP Lit, right? This is not AP Lang. This is not SAT Lit. That doesn't even exist anymore. So you guys probably know, you've been watching the channel, right? There is a way because you do not have to worry about how difficult is this poem, okay? So as always, we are going to know that this is a poetry question, duh, by just looking at it, but the question itself tells us it's a poem, and it gives us, guys, on a very difficult poem, you will notice they give us more info. So we have here, the speaker describes the fallen angel Satan who has been cast out of heaven. So I know that is the main character here. And we are just looking for main purpose. So that just means, okay, what does this poem mean, kind of, okay? So take a second to skim through the poem. Took a second, right? You can always pause the video, guys, okay? And let's go through these answer choices, and this is going to be our strategy. This is, I believe, the third video I'm making on poetry. And I'm making a lot because poetry is, yes, harder than the other ones. And this is the thing. We are going to do this by getting rid of the answers that couldn't possibly be true, okay? So even if I'm not 100% sure that I understand John Milton from 1667, I do know for sure College Board is not going to pick this as an answer. How do I do that? First look at C. Terrible answer. What rule of SAT test taking does that break? Politically incorrect, or risky, not safe, whatever you want to call it, guys. College Board cannot make C an answer on an SAT question because that is, look at that, omnipotent power of Satan. I don't care how people's religious views are. You can't deny the fact that the United States, Christianity is a very dominant force, right? Even on a literature question, we're not going to have on the SAT, the super popular, super mainstream test, we're not going to call Satan omnipotent, okay? We're not going to call Satan all-powerful. Not going to happen, okay? I can guarantee you guys, okay? So that one is out, okay? And this one, detrimental, that's very important vocab. You guys should know that. Detrimental means harmful, yes. Political stability of nations. Why is that there? And you guys can probably guess here, right? You guys are used to finding the traps. They put that there just because the word nations is right here. But political stability. So this is the phrase I want you guys to think about. I've been teaching it this way for the past few weeks and it's working very well. I want you guys to put pressure on the words, okay? Put pressure on the words. What does that mean? I see that phrase, political stability. And I want to make sure, does that work or not? Okay, does that work or not? Political stability, there is literally nothing in this passage that mentions political stability. Nothing. Nothing at all. So I'm going to erase a little bit so I can show you here. Okay. And that's also going to be pretty weird. So I know that overall this is like about, oh, this is going to be a very big key, guys. What is the point of the poems? What is the theme of the poems? It's going to sound like a very nothing answer, but it's something about humanity. Something very vague, something very universal. Like this is human nature. We are born to be blah, blah, blah. Political stability, too specific, too practical for literary passage. And also, like I said, check again. If you guys want to leave in the comments and argue with me, go ahead. There is nothing in here that means political stability. Nothing at all. So we're here and here. And this is going to be the most common trap answer, okay? And this is going to be strategy number one when you're doing a difficult question, okay? If there is an answer choice that jumps out at me, make sure, I just said 3 times, right? To check the second half. what they do with the more difficult questions is that they know people are going to be confused. So they make it so that one of the answers, one of the trap answers, is really good sounding for the first half. Let's look at A. To depict the dramatic fall of Satan. That's definitely true. They literally told us in the passage, not in the passage, in the question, in regular words, fallen angel Satan. Like, oh yeah, that works. That's totally fine. But this is when the high scorers get separated from the low scorers. The low scorers will say, okay, that's my answer. Done. Do not do that, okay? Do not do that. Okay, that works. Let's check the second part. Let's put pressure on that phrase. Because I know I'm going to be expecting a trap there. The resulting darkness that engulfs the world. Let's look here. Not lost all her brightness. You can kind of stop there, right? You didn't lose the brightness, so that's not darkness, okay? Or what? As when the sun or the moon. Yeah? We have the sun and we have the moon. And we do have the word eclipse, right? But I have the word twilight. Sun, moon, brightness not lost, twilight. Those are all kind of the opposite of darkness. Those are all light out. So that brings us to answer choice B, which I will circle right now. This is the other clue, guys. This is the other thing to be aware of. A lot of people go, I did not know what those words meant, so I just didn't pick it. It doesn't matter, okay? Notice here, it is the answer B, and B has the word celestial, which is a higher level word, okay? But they make it so that on, I would say, vast majority of these advanced questions, you do not need the advanced vocab. You could have just gotten this by getting rid of A and C and D by not panicking, by not rushing. So our answer here is B. Now let me explain to you why that is. To compare Satan's diminished glory. And this is exactly how you do these questions. You put pressure on the wording so that once I put pressure on the wording, this is what the correct answer should sound like. Okay? So I go, I'm going to check every single part of the answer choice. Satan's diminished glory. Okay? His form had yet not lost all her brightness. What does that mean? Or excess glory obscured. So we have, I didn't lose all of the brightness. I lost some. That's diminished and glory. Lost some of the brightness, diminished glory. Next, obscured. I literally do have the word obscured over here. That's fine. Brilliance. I have glory. Celestial bodies. This does require vocab. Anybody know what celestial means? Anybody speak Spanish? Okay, I forgot this is an actual class, right? Celestial means in the sky. Celestial bodies means sun, moon, and whatever. So that's my answer, okay? So if I did know all of the vocab, my shortest way of doing it would have been just that way. Celestial bodies, what is that? Sun, moon, all of that. So the answer here is B. But I'm not preparing you guys to do the questions you can already do. I'm preparing you guys to do the questions. I had no idea what B was saying, but I could still get rid of A, C, and D, okay? So for the poetry questions, I've already made videos, but people are asking for more. So what I'm planning on doing is, thanks to the help from the SATCrashcourse.com, I'm just going to give a lot of practice for you guys. I'm just going to keep breaking down the poetry until this seems natural for you guys as well, okay? So to sum up, this was one of the hardest poems that could ever come up on the SAT. And I do not expect you guys to follow through the vocab here at all. However, pick the phrases that we do know. Check, was that in the poem at all in terms of synonyms? If it's not there, it's wrong. Get rid of A, get rid of C, get rid of D. Then my answer is B, okay? So I'm going to just keep these videos coming your way, guys. Good luck on your test every single time you take it. And thanks for watching. Study every day with XJ. It's the best way. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye. Quick and dirty time. What question? Boundary question, because you guys asked for it in the comments. And as always, I'm using the best tests, best questions from the SATCrashcourse.com because I'm making the test with them, going over the questions with them. They're helping me by providing all of this wonderful actual Blue Book AI format. Here we go. And if you guys want to check out the website, as always, my referral code is going to be in the comments, in the description. You guys get 10% off. Okay. So this is a boundaries question. And I know I've done a boundaries question before, right? But you guys wanted more. So here with this question, this is really easy to solve and it's going to be over quickly. And I also wanted to talk about then overall, how do I deal with boundary questions in general? Okay. So first of all, How do I get to this question? Well, as it is the case in the regular SAT, or paper SAT, I should say, that exists right now, you want to first identify, well, what's wrong with it? So let's look here, okay? But even with these, I want you guys to, on the reading section, right, the first half of the reading and writing portion, you guys know for the majority of them, you should be looking at the question itself first, because that allows you to know what type of question it is and what should I be focusing on. Same thing here. So I know that this is a writing question and it's a grammar question, conventions of standard English, but sneaking a peek at the answer choices, which I do not recommend for the reading, do not recommend at all. But for this one, when it's conventions of English, you can look at these and figure out, okay, what kind of question is this? So notice here, I have a comma, I have no punctuation, and then I have a semicolon. If I have comma versus semicolon or period, all of those punctuations are going to be a boundary question, okay? And I'm using the word boundary question not because I think it's the greatest terminology. It's what College Board and Khan Academy decided to call it, okay? So boundary questions for me, I would probably think of them as fragment questions, sentence completion questions, because those are meaningful phrases. Boundary, not really. Anyway, let's get to it. So I noticed that because there's a comma here, because there's a semicolon, probably a boundary question. So what do I need to do? Connect properly. Okay, how do I connect things properly? This is, again, the background idea, guys. So we're going to do sentence, sentence, in which case I have a few options. I'm going to go over this quickly because we did already do a video on this. In which case you put a period, you put a semicolon, you can put a colon, or you could do a comma and fanboys. And when do I use each of those? There's another video. I can link it in the comments, or if you guys find that not enough info, I'll make another one. But for today's purpose, let's assume we know how to do all of these things, okay? Because I want to go over, again, broadly, how do I do a boundary question? So there are only two options. You connect them properly because they're a sentence and a sentence. And you do that by using a period, a semicolon, a colon, or comma and fanboys. Those are my options if I want to do sentence, sentence. What is my other option? You make one of them not a sentence. And then the other one a sentence. The order doesn't matter. So if I have a sentence and not a sentence, then you can connect it with just a comma. Just a comma. That's the major difference, okay? Because people mess up the most with commas. If I have two sentences, I need comma and fanboys. Comma, fanboys. They cannot be separated. It's a group deal. But if one of them is not a sentence, just put a comma. That's it. So let's look here. Scholar Mary Mullen's argument that public humanities efforts can disempower the public by elevating academics as fixtures is not entirely without blame. Okay, I really said it 4 times, do not care about the meaning when I do convention questions. If it's a boundary, I really don't care. All I care is, okay, that was a sentence. Okay, because I know the word here is merit. Okay, let's look at the second thing. Public humanities programs can indeed reinforce, okay, that's another sentence. So I have sentence and sentence. So again, how do I deal with that? Well, if I leave it a sentence and sentence, I'm going to do one of these. Okay? A does not work. Why? Because that's a comma, but no fanboys. Out. B doesn't work because you're literally not even putting an effort. You're not even trying. That's terrible effort. Okay. C is the biggest trap because you think, oh, I put a semicolon. But look here. As. That's what you want to look for. You want to watch out for subordinating. If you guys care about the grammar terms. Okay, subordinating conjunctions. Or just, this is the easier word. Makes, not sentence. The word as here makes the second part not a sentence. So I have, really, if I were to break this down super simply for you guys. Okay, I'm going to use the letter S to represent sentence. Okay, so it's either S, S, or S and not sentence, comma. And this one again is all the other stuff. Right? Okay. So semicolon, all that. Okay. Comma, fanboys, etc. Those are the only, they cannot overlap, okay? So answer choice C, I use a semicolon. When do I use semicolon? Sentence, sentence. If I use as, is that a sentence? No, it's not. Okay? If I say, as he was coming back, I just pause for dramatic effect because that's not a sentence. You can't just go as he was coming back. You have to be, as he was coming back, he picked up a few things. You have to finish the thought. That's not a sentence. Okay? So my answer here is D. So when you're actually solving this problem, of course, you're not going to go through this whatever minute video in your own head. You're going to be able to solve this in 20 seconds or fewer. You're going to do this. I recognize that it's a boundary question. I also recognize that right now it's a sentence and a sentence. So the correct way to solve that would be period, semicolon, colon, or comma, and fanboys. That is not an option because A, B are out. C looks like it's an option because there's semicolon, but the as makes it not a sentence, not a category. So my answer is D. Sentence, non-sentence, just put a comma. Done. Okay? So that is the boundary question. If you guys have other varieties of boundary questions that you want me to clarify things on, let me know in the comments. Post a link. Email me a screenshot. Whatever it is, I can get you guys. All right? So that's it for today's boundary question. Good luck with your studies. Let me know whatever you need to do. I got you guys. Thanks for watching. Study every day with XJ. It's the best way. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, Sexy J. Quick and dirty time on a boundary question on the digital SAT because you guys asked for it. And as always, these questions are from the SATcrashcourse.com. And good news, guys, if you guys use the code StudyJ, all caps, now you get 20% off. It was 10% before, so that's pretty good news, right? Okay, so let's look at this question, guys. This is a boundary question. And a little bit of recap, what is boundary? That just means you're dealing with, are these complete sentences, incomplete sentences, are they fragments, things like that. Pretty much, should I finish a sentence here, start a new one, or do they belong together? We belong together, guys, you and I, right? So, sorry, I don't know, I just said that. I went to a wedding yesterday, that's why. Anyway, so you look here, guys. They do a lot of traps, okay, with semicolons. This is a pattern that I've noticed on the digital SAT. They did not do this as much on the paper, okay? Traps with semicolons. What does that mean? We have a lot of stuff like here, right? See? They like pretend they're sentences, okay? But they're not. So a lot of people, when they see these things, they're like, oh, this is a boundary question. I know it's a boundary question because I see a semicolon. Everybody thinks, okay, I'm going to try to figure out how to connect these sentences together because that used to be the common pattern on the paper SAT. However, on the digital SAT, a lot more common is these are not separate sentences. It was actually just one sentence. There was no run-on. There was no error like that, okay? So at the heart of it, if you guys were not thinking of it, you guys would have done a very, easy time. You guys would have had an easy time solving this. Just look here. For example, they designed some smaller symbols, pair the downside symbols, and rigged them. So that's, what is that? They did a thing, and they did a thing. Whatever. Okay? So even though the Khan Academy and College Board, they are labeling this as a boundary question, it's actually just a list. 1, 2, comma, list. Or 1, comma, 2, comma, and. That's it. So the semicolon here is just here to throw you off. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to take that out. Okay? So don't get tricked, guys. Just because I see semicolons doesn't necessarily mean I have a run-on sentence going on. Okay? So this has happened pretty often. It's just a regular sentence. I didn't actually need a lot of fixing. Okay? So just go like the regular punctuation of what do you do when there's a list? Item 1, comma, item 2, comma, and. And you always need that extra comma. So the answer here is B. It's just a list. Okay? So that's it. So the actual grammar here is pretty simple. Okay? Don't get misled by the fact that College Board made boundary a whole category on Khan Academy. I don't know why they did that. Honestly, they don't even have that many questions on the actual test. Actually, I do know why they did that, because they want you to get things wrong. But I want you guys to get things right. That's why you're watching this video. Okay? So that's another boundary question. I will do a bunch of these because there are a lot of questions that look like boundary, but are trying to trick you. So that'll probably be the next one as well. Okay? Let me know in the comments, as always, what do you guys want to see, learn, study next. See you guys next time. Study every day with XJ. That's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Today's topic is boundary, colon, because you guys wanted to break down each punctuation, so I'll do that for you guys. As always, the questions are from the SATcrashcourse.com. You guys got the QR code. You guys got the website description. Use the code StudyJ, all caps, 20% off. Great deal. Okay. So let's get right to it, guys. Let's see. This is a very short question. And they kind of wanted me to make it longer. But for the sake of this lesson, I kept it short so I could just give you guys the points, okay? So let's look here. When the majority of workers retired, the effects are readily apparent. Loss of sleep not only lowers productivity, but also leads to injuries. So one way you can do a boundary question is just read it. You can't actually read it out loud, guys, because you can't be disturbing other people, right? But try to see how it sounds when you just plug in the words. Ignore the punctuation, okay? So when the majority of workers retire, the effects are readily apparent. Loss of sleep, so that's a sentence, that's the break, okay? So we see here that this is a run-on. Boo, run-ons are bad. Okay, why? Because I have a sentence, comma, another sentence. That is not allowed. Never, not allowed, okay? And this one's even worse, okay? The problem was there's just a comma. How do you fix that with another comma? No. How do you fix a run-on with a comma? You have to use fanboys, right? What does fanboy stand for? For, and, nor, but, or, yet. So you guys already knew that, okay? So then, by elimination, this one is going to be D is the wrong answer. My bad, I tricked you guys. Okay, D is almost good. Okay, so I'll talk about the difference between a colon and a dash in a bit. But what is the difference between B and D? Not a trick grammar question. It's just a visual thing. There's a comma here. There's no comma in B. Okay, so they do that a lot. Okay, so I know I said I'll go over commas, but I'll also do this. Okay, they do this a lot. Subject, comma, verb as a wrong choice. That's bad. That's a trap, okay? There should not be subject, comma, verb. That comma does not belong there. No way, okay? No way. It does not belong there. So that's out. Because you could technically use a dash there. You could, okay? But let's talk about the colon first, because a lot of people don't really know how to use colons. Because what did you guys learn colons are? Right? You guys probably learned in school, oh, you use it to start a list. No, you do not use it to start a list, okay? I mean, you can, but that's not the actual definition. That's like, oh, yeah, what's a pizza? You're going to go, it's a round object. Well, yeah, but that doesn't define what it is, okay? So colon is, we have a finished sentence, okay? And then you have a colon. After the finished sentence is, okay, I need a bigger eraser. Can I make my eraser bigger? Yes, good job. I am figuring things out, guys. I'm improving by the day. Okay, so after the finished sentence, to the right, what do you need? Stuff that adds to or explains that sentence, okay? So let me give you guys an example. I like pie, colon, key lime pie is my favorite, okay? So I had the idea that I like pie. And the fact that key lime pie is my favorite adds to that information, so I can put a colon there. Okay. Another usage of the colon, though, that people usually get wrong is that you do not need a sentence after the colon, though. This stuff here, I put a sentence in this case, but you do not need to put a sentence. I could just say echoes. Okay, so I could say, I ate a lot yesterday. Colon, and that's when you can use it to start a list. I ate a lot yesterday. I ate donuts. Comma, whatever, and so on, okay? So you can use a colon to start a list, but you must have a sentence before it. This is the wrong way to use a colon. I'm just going to show you right now. Do not do it like this. A lot of people do this. I ate and put a colon. You can't do that. You cannot do that, okay? So because that's not a sentence. You can't just go, I ate, right? So you say, I ate a lot of stuff, and then you finish. Okay, so for this one, let's actually get to the question. When the majority of workers retire, the effects are readily apparent. So the second sentence here is telling us how are the effects apparent? How can we see the effects? The effects are really easy to notice. The effects are easy to notice because it leads to injuries. So you can see what's happening there. So the stuff to the right of the colon explains what was on the left. Okay? So that is precisely how we use a colon. I know we have been having boundary questions, but you guys wanted me to cover, like, you know, each punctuation in detail. So here it is. This is the colon in detail. The stuff to the left must be a finished sentence. Must be. The stuff to the right, doesn't matter if it's a sentence or not, but it has to add or explain to the stuff on the left. So our answer here is B. And that's it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments, as always, what you guys want to learn, and I'll get right to it. Thanks for watching. Study every day with XJ. It's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. This one is not one of the categories that's on Khan Academy, but you guys need to learn it. So this is the essential clause, okay? And as always, we're getting the questions from the SATcrashcourse.com. Use the code StudyJ, get your 20% discount. All caps, guys, all caps. Okay. So Khan Academy and College Board has done a very questionable thing of putting all of the grammar and writing into two categories: form, structure, and sense, and the other one, boundaries, okay? These are not the most helpful categories, okay? So this one is not really clear what this would fit under. However, they're still using this prompt as a question on the real test, so you guys have to learn it, okay? So like I said, essential clause. Would that be a boundary, or would that be a form, structure, and sense? Those terms are so vague. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they put it in either category, okay? But for you guys, it's essential clause. That's what we're doing, okay? So this is a thing. What does essential clause mean, right? How can I decide if this information essential or non-essential? Okay, so there are two ways you can do this, okay? So the main point here, this stuff doesn't matter. Okay, so it's the scientists. And then we have some info. Okay, and look at the answer choices here. We have A and B. You see how A and B, we have comma, comma, or we have dash, dash, right? That lets me know automatically that those are both out, okay? Out, out. Why? Because for college purposes are like dolphin creatures, purposes, comma, comma, and dash, dash both mean it's a non-essential clause. That means you take it out, okay? However, there is no difference between using two commas and using two dashes. That means A and B are the same answer. Then they're wrong, right? Because if A is correct and B is correct, can you have two correct answers in the SAT? Of course not, okay? So I don't actually have to decide whether this is essential clause or non-essential clause. I just know, well, A and B are the same answer, it's out, okay? Then you can C and D. So this is the least amount of thinking, guys, okay? So I recognize A and B are the same answer. So my options are either you put, so the essential clause, non-essential clause, you can think about it like this, okay? So the scientists, I'll write it in the bottom again, just for more room. Okay, I'm going to ignore the spelling here, okay? Parentheses, info, is the non-essential clause. So that means I put a comma here, or a dash here, or a dash here. Or you put nothing, okay? Those are the two options, okay? You either put a comma on each side, a dash on each side, or you put nothing, okay? Look at answer choice C. What is that? What is that halfway way of doing things? You can't just put a comma on one side. That's not a thing. So my answer here is D. Did you have to decide why this is good information, why this is essential information? No, you did not. Okay? So the answer here is D. Now, why is this essential information? The essential information for College Board test, SAT, is going to be like this. The essential information is when it is identifying information. When it is information that lets us know who are you talking about. Because if you just say, the scientists offered, who are those guys? I don't know, right? Because we didn't mention scientists before. So the stuff I said we didn't need, because if I used my method, we could have just answered it, right? But if you want to actually go into the grammar portion of it, I never mentioned any scientists in the previous sentence. So I don't know who these guys are, right? So if I'm introducing people, I need to tell you who they are, okay? So that's why this information is essential, and that's why the answer here is D. If you truly want to learn the grammar, which I think you guys should do for real life, for digital SAT though, just use what I did, okay? Either pick the one with 2 commas, and the rest are wrong, or you pick the one with no commas. Those are the options, right? Okay, and that's it for today's Quick and Dirty. This was the non-essential versus essential clause. This trick will work like 90% of the time. If you guys have a question in which, oh, Jay, this trick didn't work because I actually had to choose between essential and non-essential, please send me a screenshot of the question so I can answer for you, okay? Thank you guys for watching. Study every day with StudyJ. That's the best way. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, StudyJ, Quick and Dirty, digital SAT time. We're doing the logical completion scientific research, okay? And as always, you go to thesatcrashcourse.com, use my code, it's 20% off now. That's good. It's in the QR code in the description. Get your discount on the best questions that are out there, you know, because as I told you guys, I check them. Okay, so this one is very long, and it's not very long in terms of it's literally more words in that I actually have to go through these ideas. Now, how do I know that? Because number one, I have logically completes the text, which means I do have to figure out what is the entire paragraph about and then figure out, okay, how do I conclude this? Second, you see all these like doctor names, Dr. Laura Thompson, Dr. whatever, and I have a scientific looking thing, a protein, I have, I don't know how to say that, bacteria thing. Okay, so this is science. Okay, and I have research. So I am looking for logically completing a scientific discovery. And how do I know that? Because you see the word suggest, okay? So that means if I have the word suggest and I have all of the science stuff, this is a scientific finding, okay? So this is the background information, guys. In my scientific finding, it's just this. We have discovered that this thing, we'll call it variable A, causes something. We'll call it B, okay? So that's what we are looking for. Something causes something, okay? So let's zoom in on this a little bit. What am I looking for? Okay, so from the first sentence, I am trying to figure out, okay, what is the thing that allows the plants accelerate fruit ripening in response to increased sunlight exposure? I know that's a lot of words, but, okay, so I know we are looking for something that allows plants to ripen. Okay, so allows plant, ripe, sunlight, all that stuff. Okay, so then they replace the protein PHYB in the plants with a similar protein. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, no acceleration. Okay, so then what is the thing that I'm testing? I'm testing PHYB. Okay, so this is how it works in science, guys. If I want to test, does my medicine work, for instance, then I have one group that gets the medicine. I have another group that doesn't get the medicine, right? So in this case, even though I'm testing PHYB, I need a group that doesn't get the PHYB, right? So my clue for this is they are replaced with a protein and they don't even name what it is. That's how you know it's not important. That shows no acceleration. So that's a thing that we know doesn't work, right? And from my earlier videos, what do we call that? That's the control group. Okay. So PHYB causes sunlight. Sunlight, growth, that stuff. How did I know that? Look here. Okay. On comparison, we see here the unmodified plants. So this is all we have to check. My unmodified, those are the ones that keep PHYB. And then the altered ones are the ones that don't have PHYB. Okay? So what do we have? The ones that kept the PHYB, they grew. The ones without the PHYB did not grow. Okay? So what is my final suggestion? PHYB does make stuff grow. Okay. So let me clear the board here. So from that, you guys can now go ahead and look at the answer choices. Which one of these things says PHYB is the thing that causes growth? Okay. So I don't like A because it doesn't say PHYB. Now, do they have to use the term PHYB in here? Could they just say a certain protein? Yeah, sure, because College Board is tricky like that. But still, I don't have a mention of PHYB or the protein, so A is out. Okay. And then, so our best answer is going to be between C and B because they mention PHYB, right? Okay. So the answer here is going to be, what do you guys think? Yeah. So the answer here is C. Okay. I know, again, it is a lot of words. So when you're looking through this scientific suggestion thing, you just have to narrow down. What was the question that I was trying to answer? Which is, again, something causes something. In this case, that was PHYB causes growth and ripening in sunlight. And this is the last key that you guys want to remember. How do I show that? Of course, you show that by PHYB works, right? The other way around is no PHYB, no growth. That's the evidence we use in science all the time. When I didn't have it, it didn't happen. So that implies that it is necessary. Okay. For example, we didn't watch Sexy J videos and our scores didn't go up. That implies you guys should watch the videos. Hopefully, right? Okay, so that is the scientific discovery. And the reason I'm breaking these down into further categories is that On Khan Academy, they just have logical completion. And into the logical completion, they put in like 8 different types of text, okay? I don't want you guys to get too hung up on this word, okay? It's more, this is a scientific research passage. If I have the word suggest, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is the hypothesis that we're trying to prove? Variable A causes variable B, okay? So that's it for today's quick and dirty. So that's what I need to do. The answer here is C. As always, leave in the comments whatever you guys want to see covered next, because that's what I'm here for. Study every day with XJ. It's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Quick and dirty time, we are tackling the vocab question. As always, the SATCrashCourse.com. That's where I'm getting these questions, and that's where you guys should go. Because A, I check all the questions, so I know that those are good. And B, you guys can 20% discount using my code. StudyJ, all caps. So let's look at this vocab question, which I haven't really been doing, because at the end of the day, if you know the words, you can do the vocab. Then what kind of strategy can I offer you guys? Well, this is something that is not going to be present in every single question, but it can help, which is utilizing the fact that SAT is not only politically correct, but they make very safe statements, okay? Nothing that could potentially be taken as offensive to any group, okay? So that specifically applies to this. When I have art, okay? Whenever I have any type of mention of art, I am being positive, I am being appreciative, I am praising that art. And this probably sounds familiar if you guys have been watching my videos. So how does that apply to a vocab question? So let's look here. This is a shorter question because it's vocab. The use of I can't even pronounce that word. Iconography? Yeah. By Byzantine art served to blank the sacred narratives and make them accessible to all. So what does that word mean, the iconography? Oh, that's how you say that word, right? So it doesn't matter, okay? So it's using symbols and stuff in terms of representation, but we don't need that. Why? I have the word art, okay? So it served to blank the sacred narratives to make them accessible to all. So, of course, you can just say, oh, make them accessible to all. That's pretty easy, so I know this is positive. But what I'm saying here is that even if they put in a more advanced vocab, even in the second portion, which they very well could. If it's like the number 7 question, they put in vocab words all over the place. So if I were to make this more difficult and instead make them accessible to all, I had something like decreased their obscurity. Okay? You say, oh, obscurity is not that hard, but you know, whatever other method that would make the second part a little bit more difficult to comprehend. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter, because the use of whatever in the art served to something positive. Okay, something more positive. Okay, so from that, I can eliminate complicate. That's a negative verb, right? And refute, you may say, well, that's definitely not a positive word. So those are out. And now, then we will be between B and C. And so I'm assuming that we have a pretty average level vocab. So B and C here, enliven and tarnish would, I guess, be the harder words. So you might say, oh, I'm just going to guess between the two. However, enliven, you guys can pretty easily see, has a root word of live. Okay? Live, live, all of those words are positive words. So therefore, the answer here is B. Okay? So you guys might be, oh, I already knew the word tarnished, and that's not the point here, okay? So my point here is this. The SAT has to say things that are completely safe, okay? So the specific example here was, oh, because they talk about art here, I know it has to be a positive word. So if I'm guessing, I go with a positive sounding word, okay? And it's not just limited to art. Art was really a good example to use here. But if I'm talking about an individual, for instance, a real life person, if I mention their name, same thing, we're going to be positive towards that character, okay? So if I'm going to say negative things, it's going to be about non-humans, non-people, things that you can't get upset about, right? Things that can't ever get offensive. So the answer here is B, guys. Now, I said I'm not going to do too much of the vocab questions because at the end of the day, for the majority, it is whether you know the words or not. However, if you guys have questions on, I really can't get the difference between these two words. There are certain words that I find to be confusing. If you guys give me a list, screenshot, whatever, and you want me to break them down, sure, I can do that for you guys, okay? So that's it for today's quick and dirty. Let me know in the comments whatever you guys want to see covered. That's it for today. Study every day with XJ. That's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, it's XJ. Quick and dirty time, digital SAT vocab question, because you guys have been asking for it, right? So, vocab question topic today is the science. Because if you knew every single word on these vocab questions, you know, all of this vocabulary, would you be able to do the questions? Probably, right? But the problem is, a lot of these words you don't have time to memorize, and there isn't a good official source of vocabulary out there. And the last thing is, a lot of us taking this test are not English as first language. We are ESL, English as second language. I love you, international subscribers, right? And English my second language too. So it took me 32 years to build up my vocabulary. You guys don't have 32 years to do this, okay? So even if I don't quite know the vocab, how can I do the vocab? By learning the patterns that I'm going to give you guys here. So the pattern here today is the science. I'm going to cover two things with the science, okay? So science number one is, if I have a scientist, what do they do, okay? Scientists, they show stuff, okay? They discover stuff and they show us stuff using evidence, using experimental data, using empirical results, using figures, charts, graphs. I don't really care what that is. Why? Because the word that they ask for, which is right here, they show us the stuff. So C. David de Santana proved this idea wrong by showing. Okay? That's what I need. I just need some synonym of showing. And that verb right there, the synonym for showing, that's the one that gets asked pretty often on these scientific vocab questions. I know that's a very specific thing, but honestly, it looks like, oh, how am I going to know all of these patterns? There aren't that many. Okay, I'll be able to cover all of them in like the next few videos. Okay, so here, I just need a synonym for showing, and the answer here is demonstrating. Wow, that's so easy. I'm not even going to get that wrong. But what's the pattern here? Even if the word was something more difficult, we would still be able to go through it with this pattern with confidence, okay? And the vocab I'm going to give you, not any list out there, the vocab I know is going to happen a lot. Scientists, showing or supporting with evidence. We have two synonyms, corroborating or substantiating, okay? You guys should know those words, corroborating and substantiating, okay? And that's number one thing with the scientists. What do scientists do? They like to show things, okay? Number two thing with the scientist, well, I'm getting pretty good at using this tablet, okay? So number two thing with the scientists is this. What kind of things are they interested in? What do they like? Okay? Scientists like things that are strange, weird, odd. Because like, oh, that's weird. I got to do some investigations. That's what the scientific method is all about, okay? So I'm looking for something that is something like a curiosity or an oddity. Oddity, that's how you spell that, yeah? Okay, so how do I know this is a scientist or science interest question? Because I have the word researchers, scientists, right? And also I have the word intriguing. So this is something that scientists find intriguing. Therefore, it should be something out of the ordinary, against expectation, again, something weird, okay? So I need something like curiosity, oddity, strangeness, etc. And the answer here is anomaly. Anomaly means that something is out of the ordinary. And that's a very good word to know, because anomaly is one of those words that means it's strange, but it's not necessarily a negative, okay? A trap answer with this could be abnormality, which is, you know, if you look at it in a dictionary, they'll give you pretty similar meanings, right? Abnormality, it also means it's not normal, but that has a more of a negative feel to it. Anomaly just means it's out of the ordinary, not neutral, or, no, it is neutral, my bad. Not negative, not positive. Anomaly just, yeah, it's just kind of weird, okay? So, to sum up, with the vocab questions, guys, if I'm looking for what did the scientists do, I'm probably looking for something with the synonym of the word show, okay? And if I'm looking at what are the scientists interested in, I'm looking for something that is weird. Oddity, curiosity, anomaly, things like that, okay? That's it for today's video, guys. I'm going to keep giving you guys tips on the vocab, because honestly, it's not reasonable for you guys to expect to like memorize thousands and thousands of words just for this test. So learn the patterns from me, who, Sexy J, that's the best say. Y'all already know. Bye-bye. Hi, Sexy J. Quick and dirty time on digital SAT. As promised, continuation of the vocab patterns and strategies. So today's is the advanced vocab, okay? But that by itself doesn't really give you an idea of how to approach it, okay? Advanced vocab contrast. That's going to be, oh, apparently I have to write it over here. Advanced vocab contrast. Excuse the handwriting, as always, okay? So this is, again, a Khan Academy problem. And we are looking at a pretty long text, honestly, right? But I can tell that this might be something I have to pay attention to, the longer text, because number one, the vocab questions are in order of difficulty. So 1 through 6, right? Number 1 and 2, you can probably do it pretty easily. But if it's question number 5, question number 6, I might have to look at more of the text. Number 2, look at the vocabulary here. Do you guys know what dogmatic means? If you do, that's great. That will make this a lot easier. But a lot of times you will not know what that means because this is not a word that's commonly used around the world at the high school level, right? If you are a high schooler and you regularly hear the words dogmatic, that probably means you live in a super political environment, honestly. So I don't even know if that's a good thing. Okay, so let's look at this. Because of the word dogmatic, and because of the fact that this will probably be one of the later questions, I know I have to read more of the text, okay? If I'm reading more of the text, the one thing you want to watch out for, as is the topic of the video, the advanced questions can come from not just the elevated level of the vocabulary, which does happen. Again, dogmatic is an elevated vocab. But the other thing is the contrast, which I wrote with some difficulty on the side. Okay, so contrast. Let's highlight some words here that mean contrast. Okay, I have rejecting, which is contrast. Ew, that's a terrible highlighter. My bad. Okay, so I'm just going to rejecting. That's a contrast. What else? Diverged. And I have more. Okay? So I'm really concerned about Johnson's self-effacement diverged from these guys. Okay. So then I know that my guys are different from Johnson, because diverge means to go away from, right? Diverge means to go away from. So they are different from Johnson, okay? W.E.B. Du Bois and Alan Locke, whose decisions for their publications were more something else, okay? So before I go back to the text, let's just look at how a contrast works. If I said Johnson was super funny, then here, if my guys are different from Johnson, my guys might be, oh, they're different, and Du Bois, and I don't want to write the other name, they are more serious, okay? So Johnson's a funny guy, but these guys who diverge, aka who are different, they're more serious. So that type of logic is what I'm looking for, okay? So what is Johnson like according to the text? Johnson fostered his contributors' diverse perspectives by promoting their authorial autonomy. Again, look at how much more elevated the vocabulary is. We have authorial autonomy. Autonomy is one of those words we should know. Autonomy means self-ruling. Auto means self, right? So in easier words, I also want to get used to just okay, what does that mean? Johnson, let me get rid of these things so I have more room. Johnson allowed freedom and independence. Okay, I'm just replacing the word autonomy with more common synonyms, okay? Johnson allows for more freedom and more independence. So then I want, okay, these guys are different from Johnson, so they are more strict. They are more controlling. Okay? Is what I would need. Wow. Yeah. So then I need something that means strict or controlling. I need to get it down to this level of I want something that's close to the meaning of more strict, more controlling. Otherwise, especially with the high-level vocab, and also, as I said in the last video, you guys can run into the trap of just plugging the words in and it can all sound correct. You don't want to do that, okay? So I want something that means they are more strict or more controlling. More ambiguous, definitely wouldn't fit. More proficient also doesn't work. That just, proficient means they're good at stuff, right? Unpretentious means like he's like a humble guy. So unrelated. So out of these, I would argue for most people, dogmatic is the highest level word, and A, C, and D are the more familiar words. But I was able to eliminate all of them because they didn't really go along with, okay, would this mean the guy is more strict or more controlling? Not necessarily, right? If a person is ambiguous, proficient, or unpretentious, that's not really related to being strict or controlling. Now, finally, the grand reveal, right? What does dogmatic mean? I always ask the questions to the camera because the camera doesn't talk back. Dogmatic means you are very stubborn, you're very set in your ways, and you are very firm with your beliefs. That's the definition of dogmatic. Okay, so if somebody's stubborn and set in their ways, is that related to being strict or controlling? Yes. Okay, and this is the last note here. The best word to put here would have been a synonym for controlling. Okay, But because this is the advanced question in the SAT, did they do that for you? No. Okay, so you do have to take a little bit of an inferential step. Okay, so I did not have, they were more controlling. I had, they were stubborn and they were more firm in their beliefs. They were more unchanging. They were unflexible. Could that mean that they are more controlling? Yes. And you only do this type of inference for the vocab, but it's okay because it's the vocab question, okay? So I'm pretty glad that you guys asked for the vocab series, because I have had a mind of not doing the vocab, because honestly, without breaking it down like this, of going, okay, it's a contrast, and also I don't need exact synonym, this question would be really, really hard to do. Again, if somebody wrote this sentence in an English class, in an English paper, they put in the word dogmatic, I would raise an eyebrow. Be like, is that really the word you mean to use there? But can we argue against College Board? This is why I'm using a concatenated problem. Okay, it's not a problem I made. This is from College Board, right? They do this, okay? This is not the best word to put here, but they did it anyway, okay? So if you guys want more breakdowns on vocab questions or any other questions, feel free to leave me in the comments, right? And I will get to answering all the comments as soon as my wrist heals up a little bit more and I feel more comfortable typing. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Study every day. Sexy J. It's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, Sexy J. Quick and dirty time, digital SAT. We're going to do more literature questions because A, I love doing these because I'm a literature nerd, and B, you guys are requesting a lot of these in the comments, and also these have the most applicability to your AP tests, because I know you guys are high achievers, so a lot of you are probably also studying for AP Lang or AP Literature test. So take the lesson from today on the literature, and you can do well on those tests as well. So to get a little bit more specific into it, this is the main purpose of the text, right? So when I'm looking for the main purpose of the text, it can seem a little bit more difficult, because can you really say this was the purpose of a text in a literature? Right? It's not like in the science passage when we know for sure that we are supposed to talk about a particular discovery, right? So it can seem a lot more subjective, right? And that's actually the key. We're going to eliminate the ones that are too subjective, okay? So we're going to, you guys remember my earlier videos, right? Oh, I mean, hopefully, okay? We should avoid the extreme answers, right? So we're avoiding the answers that are like, how would I even know that? Okay, so that's the key. So literature, main purpose, avoid the extremes. If I was to sum up the whole video, it would be that. And I know I've already had videos on avoid the extremes, so I'm doing the exact application of that idea onto the literature purpose question because, again, you guys have been asking about it. So we know that this is from 1912. It's the context is given here. You should read this context, guys, but I have seen a lot of trap answers that use exact wording from this background info, so don't get too hung up about it, okay? So take a second to read through the passage. I did not really pause that time because I'm learning that you guys can pause the screen. I don't have to pause myself. Okay, so if you look here, what is the sense that you get when you read this? And honestly, the takeaway for most people is going to be the first paragraph. This is where the problem arises for the majority of people. Look at these words. Like, a persuasive young fellow who claimed he was closing out of stock let the old man have it for what he called a song. What on earth does that mean? To let somebody have something for what he called a song. Nobody in American English probably speaks like that in 2023, right? So that's going to throw people off. And this is my key that I've been saying for the literature, and you guys might be able to guess. If I don't understand it, just move on. Okay? Literature especially. You do not have to know the phrase here. Now, in terms of literature nerd, that means like he pretty much let him have it for free. Okay? Does that matter at all for this question? Not at all. Okay? So don't get hung up there. Okay? And so let's see here. It was only a little out of the way store which subsisted chiefly in the framing of pictures. The old man looked around at his views of the city, his pictures of cats and dogs, his flaming bits of landscape. Okay, this is the thing I'm going to do. None of that stuff really mattered, okay? Now, how can I just be crossing out that information? Because, look at the answer choices, okay? So for the literature purpose, unlike the science, if I read through the text and I'm not really quite sure what I should focus on, look at the answer choices, okay? Now, if you look at the answer choices, which one of these things, guys, which one of these things sounds like a super extreme that is really unlikely? C, obviously, right? Most highly prizes. Most highly prizes. That would mean this is the number one thing. And you can comb through the text, and you should comb through the text if you think the answer is C, to look for something like he likes best, his favorite, his treasured possession, anything like that, okay? But I already have here, it did seem that the picture failed to fit in with the rest of the shop, and I have the picture doesn't belong in there. That allows me to eliminate C, okay? Now, answer choice B is a very common answer because you go, oh, I can see from the first paragraph that the man does not like the picture, that it does not fit in. That is the other thing that you have to look out for in the literature questions. They do this all the time, but especially in the literature, they will base some of the trap answers on just the first paragraph. Because the literature is pretty much the only one they give you multiple paragraphs on the digital SAT, right? So that one, also resentment is a very strong word. So I know I wrote avoid extremes, and I saw some of you guys have been leaving comments lately on the videos, calling me a handwriting master, obviously sarcastic. I'll try to work on it, guys. I did break my wrist this year, but yeah, that is pretty atrocious handwriting, my bad. But avoid extremes, what does that mean? If I have emotions, right, I really need strong. Okay, so if I have strong emotion, then I need strong evidence. So you see the word resentment in answer choice B? What does it mean to resent somebody? That means I am upset about something, and I don't like what happened, and I'm kind of bitter with this person. Like, I think this person did me wrong. Yeah? So, what does the old man think about this man? You can read through this again. What do you guys think he thinks? Nothing at all. We don't know at all, right? So this is the main flaw. This is the trap answer I wanted to talk about here, okay? A lot of people go, okay, if somebody sold me a thing and they kind of cheated me out of it, they kind of just swindled me and they just charmed me to buy a useless thing that doesn't fit in my house, I would resent that guy. Guys, our feelings don't matter on the SAT, okay? So the trap answers are oftentimes what reasonable people will do. But the thing is, in the SAT, if there isn't evidence, it's not an answer. So B is out. Okay. So the answer is either A or D. Okay. Now, why is the answer not D? Because I do know that the new picture doesn't fit it. I do know what the other pictures look like, right? And here, let me test you guys. You can, obviously I can't hear you guys, but really try to find what makes D wrong here. Okay, it's this minute difference finding that really sets you up for that score that's above a 1500. Okay? Because, yeah, there are other pictures in the shop, and I do know what the other pictures look like. They have cats and dogs. Okay? And I do know that the new picture doesn't fit in, so it's different, right? Explain differences. For that to work, I have to know what the new picture looks like. Guys, what does the new picture look like? Yeah, they actually didn't tell us at all. At all. Okay? So a lot of these are, they put in information you think common sense-wise would be available, but wasn't actually said in the text. So even without looking at it, we already got our answer because we eliminated everything else. Okay? But our answer here is A. And this is, if you guys, oh, from watching your previous videos, Jay, I could do this even quicker by doing this. That's great. If you guys can do that, stick to that. Okay? The reason I went through the elimination is sometimes they give you like 2 answers are pretty okay. So you got to take one out. Okay? Conflicted feelings about the new picture. Okay, so I know it's about the shop owner because that's the shop owner. Conflicting feelings, I have failed to fit in, don't belong here. Those are negative feelings. Okay, secretly proud, that's positive feeling. Done. That's A. Okay, so if you're trying to do this really quickly, that would be kind of it. So if you are a good enough reader, if you're a fast-paced reader, you could go from the first paragraph like, oh, the dude thinks it doesn't really fit in. That's like a negative feeling. Here, oh, but he's secretly proud. I don't have to understand why. Doesn't even say why. That's positive. Okay, negative and a positive, that is a mixed feeling, a conflicted feeling right here. So that's my answer choice of A. Okay, but what if I wasn't able to do that because the text is 1912? Then you would just go through the elimination method that I just did, which let me just summarize again. I take out B because I don't know if the dude is resentment. Actually, this is the thing. I'm not saying he's not resentful. I eliminate the wrong answers on A. If it's wrong, duh, obviously, right? But B, if I have no idea of knowing if it's true, okay? Is the guy resentful? I don't know, because it doesn't tell us. C, is that what he most highly prizes? Again, I don't know. I don't know what he likes the most. And D, same thing. Explain the difference between new picture and other. I don't know what the new picture looks like. So B, C, and D are all out because I don't know if those things are true or not. Why? Because they all have extreme language. Avoid the extreme language, okay? So that was a more detailed breakdown than we usually do on Quick and Dirty because A, literature. This is a lot of times required if we do not have the ability to read literature from, like, again, the 18th century or something. And B, if you guys are doing AP Lang and AP Lit, and as AP season come up, guys, please feel free to request videos on those topics. I'll be happy to do them. You would also take this type of strategy for it, okay? So I'm going to be doing literature passages for a while because of the reason I said in the beginning of the video, right? Thanks for stopping by. Study every day with XJ. It's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Hi, it's XJ. Quick and dirty time. Poetry structure. We are doing poetry structure, and the structure questions are pretty much like this. The beginning, okay? Beginning is blank, and then the end is blank, okay? So these are going to really focus on our paraphrase skill, right? So it's not as much thinking as the main purpose question, which is the other video that we just did on literature, okay? So if you look at this poem, right, it doesn't really look like a lot of stuff is going on. But if I notice at the structure of the text, that's probably going to be the case. I am not looking for deeper meaning. I very rarely have to look for deeper meaning on SAT literature, okay? So I just look at it, and this is what I want to write down. I want to write down physically what's happening first, okay? So we have a Black American writer, and we are talking about a tree, okay? And the fact that she is a Black American writer is important because we have this discussion at the end, but we'll get to that. I have just seen a most beautiful thing. Okay, so, slim and still against the gold sky, a straight black cypress. Okay, so she sees a tree. She sees a tree, and this is a positive. She loves the tree. Because straight up, one, she calls it a most beautiful thing, right? And she is a Black writer, and she's using the tree as a symbol. Now, do I have to catch that she's using it as a symbol? Not really. It doesn't really matter. Why? Because first, again, she legit calls it a most beautiful thing, right? And if I have any type of identity of the writer, you guys remember where I'm going with this, right? That is mentioned, I am being appreciative and celebrating that heritage, okay? So in this case, we have a Black writer, but it could be a Hispanic writer, it could be an Asian writer, it could be a whatever heritage it is, those heritages are being celebrated. That's just how it has to go, okay? So then we go into, okay, so she saw a tree, she's describing the tree, okay? And she's saying the tree is like a black finger pointing upwards. So again, let's say that I didn't make the connection that she's saying the tree looks like a finger. Let's say I didn't get that, okay? Let's say this is just a whole question mark. So let's say I just got that she's looking at a tree. And I don't get that part. But what did I say in the other video? In the literature, especially if I don't get it, what I do? Just move on, keep it moving. Why, beautiful still finger, are you black, and why are you pointing upwards? She's curious. And she's asking questions to the finger. Okay? She's asking questions to the finger. Let's just leave it at that, okay? Now, the answer here is not D. And at this point, you guys should be really familiar with this tool. If not, well, I suggest you watch the other videos as well for your own good. I am looking for an excuse to eliminate every single one of answer choice, right? The term I like to use is I want to put pressure on every word of the answer choice. I want to put pressure on the words. The speaker examines her surroundings. Oh, let's take this other thing as well. On the structure of the texting, a lot of the times, the first part of it, like this part, she's looking at a tree, right? That part will be like correct for like all the choices. So you can't really use that to differentiate it, right? Like, let's look here. The speaker assesses a natural phenomenon. Yes, it's a tree. Okay, phenomenon is anything that happens. A tree is the natural phenomenon, okay? The speaker describes a distinctive sight in nature. Again, that works. The speaker presents an outdoor scene. Well, yeah, if it's a tree, it's probably outdoors, right? And then D, examines the surroundings. All of them work, right? So if I feel like all of them work in the structure question for the first half, you're probably reading it right. You don't have to be like, oh, maybe there's some like little difference that I forgot to catch. Nope, you're probably right on all four, okay? So then it's the second part that I have to, again, put pressure on. Speculates about the influence on her emotional state. What word do I have about how she feels? Nothing at all. Again, you would think, oh, if she's looking at a beautiful thing, then she probably feels whatever fill in the blank. Probably in real life. Did the poem tell us? No. I have no idea how she feels. Okay? And then, what else? A. Questions the accuracy of her assessment. That is not going to be the case. Because we were straight up told, right? She's a Black American writer. She's looking at the tree, right? And this tree is a black cypress. So the tree is supposed to be representative of her people. And even if that's not the case, right? She calls the tree beautiful. We're not going to go back on that. Okay? Because number one, the tree represents her people. We're not going to say anything negative. And number two, I have never seen an SAT passage that goes, nature is stupid and ugly. Not the case. We appreciate nature all the time. So A is out. So between B and C, C is an excellent trap answer, which means it's wrong. Considers all human behavior. Okay, is this finger a human behavior? No, the finger is the tree. So it's not a human. Okay? But let's say I didn't know that. I was like, maybe the finger is a human. Although that's weird. Why would you call a person a finger, right? Look at answer choice B. Answer choice B is one of those that are too vague, right? They are too vague to be wrong. Too vague to be wrong. Remember that, okay? So the example I gave you guys before. If I say, I went to a restaurant, and you ask me, how was it? I say, they served food. That cannot be wrong, right? But if I get more specific and I say, they served the best Italian food I've had in my life, you could challenge that, right? If I say, they have the best ham sandwich in New York City, you could challenge that because it's specific. But if I just say, they have a sandwich that is liked by some people. Sure, that's vague, okay? So look at here. Ponders, which is a synonym for wonders, what meaning? Okay, so what does that mean? The guy is wondering stuff. He's wondering what it means. Why? Because he's asking the question why and why. That's it, okay? So if you're really taking this test, right, and then if I want to do it on the test day speed, I would go, well, let me erase everything for you guys. That's not an eraser. That's an eraser. Cool, okay. So on test day, obviously, you would not be explaining all of that as you solve the test. Although, as I've said before, some students say they can hear my voice when they do the test. Apparently, that helps. Does that mean I want you guys to listen to my videos until you can hear my voice in your head? Not necessarily. But if it helps, go for it. Okay, just turn it on, go to sleep, you know. Okay, so let's look here. I noticed it's a structure question. So I just look at what's physically going on. Literally, what's going on physically, okay? I look at a tree, look at tree, and the tree is nice. It's a nice tree. It's beautiful, okay? And then I wonder why, okay? I wonder why the color, and I wonder why up. Okay, that's it. I look at a tree and I wonder what it's doing, okay? So A is out because I'm just wondering, questioning the accuracy because I think I'm wrong. None of that, okay? Answer choice C is wrong because there is no another human person. And answer choice D is wrong because I don't know how she feels, so the answer is B. That's the thought process. That's how you should be solving these tests, okay? So that's it for today, guys. As always, leave in the comments whatever you guys want to see covered. Again, I covered this on basis of digital SAT, but you guys have AP Lit questions, AP Lang questions, just school English questions, right? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Study every day. With who? Sexy J. That's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, Sexy J. Quick and dirty time. Honestly, kind of missed you guys. And first of all, I want to say thank you to guys for continuing to watch the videos, continuing to comment. And I also want to say sorry. I know we haven't been up to date with the uploads because we've been doing construction in the studio. This is the new studio. You guys probably can't tell. But we have a lot more content coming your way because it's the new year and it's also February, which means the digital SAT first test official in the United States. And also for you international kids, I still haven't forgotten you guys. The first test of this year is March. So let's get to it, guys. So we're starting a new series within the Quick and Dirty for the rhetorical synthesis. Why? Because a lot of people have asked for it. And don't think I forgot, I am going to get to the transition questions as well. So with that out of the way, let's get to the Quick and Dirty. The rhetorical synthesis, as you guys know, is the last 3, 4, 5 questions, depends on the format, right? But they are going to be the last questions on the reading and writing. And a lot of people have a lot of questions about these, like, this is so much reading I have to do. This is so different from the ACT, from the paper SAT. And it really is, but I just finished recording so many other videos because I'm also working on a course for you guys, right? Like 800 plus videos, they're on the way. So I have noticed so many more patterns that I really want to give to you guys, okay? So with this thing, you have to remember that the reading portion of the digital SAT is only in the first half of the module, okay? So that's questions 1 through 13 to 14-ish out of the 27 questions. So that means this one, being questions 25 through 27, is not supposed to be a reading question. That's good news. That means you guys don't really have to read, okay? So look at this example here. And this is very common. We just want to isolate, what are we being asked for? So the student wants to present the primary aim of the research study. So we're going to go through multiple categories of the rhetorical synthesis. And this one is aim, okay, or goal. And you guys will see the other synonyms, but this is, you guys can categorize why. Why did they do this research, okay? So that's all I want. And here's a little cheat, guys. You do not need to read the bullet points for elimination, okay? So I want to know, why did they do this study in the first place? Because they wanted to discover something. There was something that we didn't know. We had to figure out something, okay? So look at all of these. A, this is just what they did, okay? If this is the answer, the question will ask methodology, which we will do another video on, okay? And then B, this is a result. Again, that's a separate video, okay? And then this one, key word here, they wanted to better understand. Now, do I want you guys to do the test this quickly? Not necessarily, because not yet, you guys are not as good as me. But you can almost be sure, because as soon as I saw the word wanted to better understand, or that phrase rather, and I see in answer choice D, they found, okay? So let's actually compare them, okay? They found, and then they used, and as analyzed. Let's compare A, C, and A, B, C, D, all of them, right? A is, again, the methodology. That's just what they did. That is not the answer here. Look at B and D. That's the result. I don't want the results, okay? So when I have goal, aim, motivation, okay, that's what did they want to do before they did the experiment. It's C. They wanted to better understand. Now, notice how none of the other ones even talk about what they wanted. So I don't have to read any of this stuff. And I don't really even have to read the body here. I don't have to read the body here. If there were two answer choices that do mention what they wanted to do, only then would you examine the rest of the text. But I found out, doing 800 plus videos, they really don't, okay? Which is great news for us, right, guys? So, yay, okay? And also yay for the return of quick and dirties. That sounded not very PG-13. But anyway, so I have another one, okay? So this is the other example. This one we're going to go through a little more quickly. The student wants to emphasize the motivation. It's the same thing. It's, okay, what did they want to do, right? So I don't need to look at the text. I'm just going to scroll down for you guys here. Okay. Oh, take a second, as always, to look at it. Pause it. You guys looked at it, right? Okay. So the motivation behind the work. Okay, so I need to know motivation. That's just what they wanted. So I'm going to be looking for they desire, they were looking for. What do you guys think that is? Okay, is it A? No, that's a finding. Is it B? It's a okay, you guys found it, right? What's the word? What's the word in answer choice C? Aims. That's it, okay? So to sum all of this up, if you guys are actually solving this according to my tips and strategies, it would take you like 5 seconds, okay? You would see, oh, the word motivation, aims, okay? Or the previous one, aim, desires. That's it, okay? So to sum it up today on these rhetorical strategies, we're going to do a whole series. But specifically, if they wanted, what did they want to do before they did the research? There will be probably only one answer that even has a synonym for wanted to, they sought to, this is what they seeked, this is what they desire to find out. So long as you find out, that's it. You do not have to read, yay, okay? As always, study every day with XJ. So many more videos coming your way. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, guys. Hi, hey, it's XJ, quick and dirty time with the rhetorical synthesis and these problems. Right now I'm taking them from Khan Academy, but remember on the SATcrashcourse.com we have questions and Blue Book official app quality, right? The same thing as a real test made by us, right? As in me, I check those questions, okay? So this lesson I'm doing here, I made sure they are in the practice test, okay? It has this exact concept. So go and use what code? StudyJ, all caps, for 20% off. That's kind of crazy, right? 20%. Okay, so let's look at this. And as I said in the other rhetorical synthesis video, these can be super simple. Okay, I'm going to be repeating this concept. So I have this one question, which is the student wants to explain the disadvantage. Okay, So it doesn't matter whether it's an advantage or disadvantage, okay? This has come up many times. They just want you to do a very specific thing based on the notes. So all you have to do is find the one thing that does what the notes say, okay? What the question says, okay? So look here, this is almost the same thing as before. So let's look here. Which is the only answer choice, literally the only one, that has a disadvantage? Let's see. So the answer here is going to be, what do you guys think? A. It is A. Okay, why? Why is it negative? Less reliable. That's almost it, okay? If you guys want it, you guys are rushed for time, you guys can move on from there, right? But we're not moving on from this video because I have more information to give you guys, okay? So the trap here is, I might have something as I look at the next, this question's done. That one's it. Like, did you guys see anything negative there in the other ones? No, right? Literally nothing negative in the other ones. Okay, so that's why another example prepared right below. Let me scroll that up for you guys. Right there. Okay. I am not going to look at the notes because that's literally the whole point, okay? I don't need the notes in the rhetorical synthesis, okay? So I need a potential problem. Pretty much the same question as before, right? You see how repetitive College Board makes these, okay? So I need a potential problem. So A is out because that is completely neutral, right? Okay. And then this one's a trickier one. B looks like it has a problem. And you guys probably noticed my pattern, right? If I say it looks like, it's a trap answer, okay? Leave that alone for now. Does C have anything negative? No, okay? So we're between B and D. So this is a slightly more advanced version of these problem questions or a benefit, okay? It doesn't matter whether I'm talking about a positive or a negative, okay? So the simple one is going to be only one of them has a positive, so you pick that if it's being asked for. Or I'm being asked for a negative. Only one choice has a negative, so you just pick that. Now the slightly more advanced one is going to be this. We asked for a negative. Okay, we asked for a negative, okay? The trap answer, which is this, okay? This is a trap. I'm going to capitalize it, okay? So the trap answer is going to be negative first, but, and then they put in a positive. Memorize this exact pattern, guys, okay? Very, very common. And as you guys have seen from many of my other videos, on reading especially, if I have the word but, or however, or any type of contrast, despite, which is the case here, the first thing is less important. What comes after the contrast is what's more important, okay? So if I have, oh, I bought a lot of lottery tickets yesterday, but I didn't win. What's more important is the fact that I didn't win, yeah? Okay, so this one is a trap because immediately, and SAT loves to do this, because you see the potential problem, you're looking for the concerns, right? They love to put the thing you're looking for in the first half of the sentence, concerns. But because it's the first part of a contrasting sentence, not the main point. Let's read the whole thing in B. Despite the concerns, it remains popular. I didn't read the whole thing, I don't want to, okay? So the main point here, is it the concerns or is it the popular? It's the popular, right? Because it comes afterward. It's the second part. So we can eliminate it. So when you see it, you can be like, oh yeah, Jay told me this is a trap. Good. So the answer here is going to be D. This is the only one that just has a negative, which is a concern. And that's it, okay? So rhetorical synthesis, as I said before, you do not have to read the notes. Very, very rarely will you have to read the notes. When do you have to read the notes? Well, I'll tell you guys in my next video, okay? So thanks for watching, guys. So when you are looking for these, just find the positive or the negative that's being asked for. Watch out for the trap answer that has the misleading stuff in the beginning with a contrasting sentence, but the main point is at the end of the sentence, okay? So, study with who? Sexy J, every day. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, Sexy J, quick and dirty time. As promised, rhetorical synthesis, okay? And I promise you guys, when will I need to read at least a little bit of the text? This is almost the case. Honestly, guys, although I told you guys, I will tell you when you need to read the text. With my strategies, I realize you don't really need to do it, okay? But I'll give you both ways, okay? Whichever way you guys find easier, go for it, okay? So here, we have a generalization, okay? But that's not it. I have to make and support a generalization. You see there are two parts to the verb, okay? Two parts. So we're going to check that. And before looking at the notes, so I will give you guys the shorter way of doing it, okay? Now, maybe the pattern doesn't fit 100% all the time, so I'll give you guys a backup plan, which will involve reading the notes. Okay, first, the shorter way of doing it. I need to make and support a generalization, and this is really the main theme of this video, okay? The generalization question on the rhetorical synthesis. Generalization on the SAT means a general claim. So that means I am saying this is how this stuff is. Therefore, this general claim is not going to be a specific fact. Specific fact, it's not a specific fact, okay? I'm even going to put an exclamation mark to emphasize this. So with that, Sexy J subscribers, you guys probably already kind of got the point. If you look at A, B, C, D, which ones have, specific fact? A, okay? This generalization, is this a generalization? No, it is not, because that is a specific fact. Lands, waters, resources, international tension, blah, 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 okay? So it only has that part, so it cannot be the answer. Now, this is a multi-layered answer. Multi just means two, really. I need to make a generalization. So I do need to look for a general claim without specifics. So A is out because it only has specifics. There is no general claim. What about B? It's the same thing. It's just more detail, right? That is, again, not a generalization. C is a very good example of a generalization. The Alta conflict had a lasting impact. That's a very general and vague claim. Like, yay, that works. No, because that's why I put the check marks in the beginning of the video. Make and support. Make the generalization works. For SAT purposes, this is how this goes. You guys also saw this in the reading questions, or in the function questions, okay? So you first make the generalization, and then you must support the generalization with specifics. In other words, you make a statement without specifics. That's generalization. The statement with the example and the specifics that back up the generalization is the support that we need. So C, it does have the generalization, but unfortunately, well, fortunately for us, because we can just get rid of it, it doesn't have the support. Now, going back, that also means that A and B, those types of specific details would have been totally fine if we were looking for just the support. But we're not. We're asking for making the generalization and supporting the generalization. Generalization. Can't say words. Yes, actually, I can say words. I'm pretty good at that. So answer choice D. That's the only one left, right? So, of course, that is the answer, but let's do our due diligence and check. It had a lasting impact. That is a generalization. Great. And then the international attention on legal protections for Sami rights to lands, waters. Okay, all that detail. That is the specifics. Therefore, that is the support part. Okay. So I did tell you guys how else would I do this if I was not able to do that pattern. Although I don't know why you wouldn't do that pattern. That pattern works really well. The other point here is when I have these generalization questions, or if I have the student just wants to make a statement on the notes, those types of, again, general, really broad interactions with the rhetorical synthesis, go with the choice. I'm going to write this whole thing out. With more bullet points, okay? And you guys know how to count, so this is a little bit trivial, but if we have resulting international attention on legal protections, so let's just count how many bullet points this one refers to. It refers to this bullet point, okay? It refers to this bullet point. It refers to this bullet point. And so out of the 5 bullet points, which is the average number, this one refers to 3. All of the other answer choices refer to 2 bullet points or even fewer. So that's another way to do it. Now, did I really have to read and comprehend this? No, I did not. I'm just counting. So those are the 2 ways, okay? So I am looking for generalization. Therefore, I need a statement without specifics. In this case, it's a dual question. I need to support it as well. Support, I do need specifics. And if that pattern, you don't want to do it for some reason, generalization question or a broad statement about the rhetorical synthesis, just pick the one that uses more bullet points. I can't believe this pattern works either, but it works, okay? Maybe SAT. Maybe that's why College Board doesn't really like me, because I give you guys all these patterns. Like, I think one of you guys commented like, oh, I feel like we're not even supposed to know these patterns. I think you're right, but they're not going to stop me, so I'm here. Okay, so study every day with Sexy J, guys. I got you guys on all the little secrets, the dirty little secrets, quick and dirty, that they don't want you to know, but I'm gonna keep doing my thing. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Hi, hey, it's Sexy J, quick and dirty time. Still on with the rhetorical synthesis because I'm giving you guys every single time-saving pattern. So, as always, we're not going to read all of these bullet points, right? So, what are we going to do? Go straight to the question, present the study's findings. That's level 1 of this video. We are doing the findings video, but to give you guys more bang for your buck, you guys want to save time. That's why you're watching these, right? The other topic I'm also going to cover here is audience that is familiar. So that's going to be it, okay? And as always, guys, go to thesatcrashcourse.com. Use my code StudyJ, all caps, to save 20% on practice tests. Why? Because all these patterns are in the test. I know, because I checked every single question. It took so many hours, okay? So please go for it and get the best help you need, which is for me and then the SAT Crash Course. Me first, though. I'm more important. Anyway, so let's get this pattern. I want to present the study's findings. So with the rhetorical synthesis, I want to clarify, am I looking for something that is before the experiment, during the experiment, or after the experiment? The findings, or the results, or the conclusions, as you guys might guess, after the experiment, okay? So this is what they found out. This is the result. This is the data. This is the conclusion, whatever synonym you want to call it. So any of those synonyms, take any of them in your head, look in the notes. Look, not the notes. Don't look at the notes. I'm going to cross that out, actually. I really don't want to read those. Look at the answer choices. Which one of these, then, has the findings? Let's see. This has the findings, right? They were likely. That seems like a result. Okay. This one does not. This, again, would go into the methodology question. Can I spell methodology? Yes, I can. Good job, me. Yeah. So that is what happens during the experiment, not in the scope of this question. So then, here, researchers found that, oh, that also works. Okay. And then D, honestly, guys, if the answer choice is this short on a rhetorical synthesis, you can feel pretty safe crossing it out. But you may, okay, isn't that kind of a finding though, Jay? Okay, we'll keep it. So notice here, we were only able to get rid of one answer choice. Does that mean I'm going to make you guys read the notes? No, I already crossed it out, right? Like, I'll cross it out even more. So then how do I do this? Number one, if I am guessing, normally in the rhetorical synthesis, I go with the longest one, right? But there's a reason I highlighted from the beginning, and this is a double video, familiar audience. And I do know I have done a video on familiar audience, but this video is better because I'm always improving, because I'm always studying. Study J. So let's look here. Let's compare A and C, okay? Because D, that's so little detail. Gas giants were likely to contain heat-absorbing materials when they featured a layer of atmosphere warmer than the layer beneath it, researchers found. That's great, actually. That is a finding. That's really, really, really good. And you guys know my pattern, right? If I'm talking it up, it probably means there's a trap coming after, or this is a trap. This phenomenon is known as thermal inversion. I was literally told in the question, the audience already knows thermal inversion. I don't need to define it here, right? Just like in this video, I don't need to define for you guys what is the SAT. You guys already know what that is. So that is thus out, okay? And a very good trap here, because the rhetorical synthesis, the pattern is typically the longest answer. It's like really likely to be the answer. But not the case here, because audience already familiar with, so they will put in the trap in which the first half, as usual, does the thing that they ask for. And then the second half, as usual, makes it wrong. In this case, I don't need to explain what this is if they already know. Therefore, thus, hence, just working on your transitions as well, the answer here is C. Because this has that information of what they found, literally the word found, and it doesn't have that definition, which is unnecessary. And also, answer choice D, now that we look at it, does it have a synonym for findings or found? No. I would need something like concluded, discovered, saw, observed. I don't have any of those, so therefore D is doubly terrible. Not only is it too short, it also doesn't have those synonyms. So to summarize, number one, I just look for the words that have finding or some synonym. And number two, the double layer again. If I am presenting to an audience already familiar, which is a pretty common pattern, I don't need to be defining the thing that the audience is familiar with, like very unnecessary, okay? Don't do the unnecessary things. So our answer here is C, again and again and again, rhetorical synthesis. I don't have to read the words. I'm very happy I don't have to read those, because those are not very fun to read, okay? So rhetorical synthesis, we're almost done with these, okay? Just a couple more topics on it, and you guys will be done with them forever, okay? I promise. So study every day with who? With Sexy J. That's me. You guys know. Bye-bye.